to Taxpayer Alert. I'm Al Segalla. I'll be your moderator. And this is an exceptionally exciting program. We're going to have two guests, and we're going to learn all about animals. Now, I'm president of the Calaveras County Taxpayer Association, so we want to know about numbers too. But so let's introduce our guests. We have Lisa Medina.
Hello, Al.
And then Mike Vasquez, who's a manager. Lisa's an FD EMA administrator and does more than manage. And then, of course, Mike Vasquez is our manager. He's been on our program before. And, well, be prepared to enjoy yourself. Now, let's start off with the first question. Annual operating budget.
Well, I can speak to that a little bit. So in our fiscal year 22-23, we had an annual operating budget of approximately $891,439. Our next fiscal year operating budget looks to be about $100,000 more is what we're anticipating. So we're looking to see about $971,877. The reasons behind that are our operating expenses have gone up, infrastructure improvements. We've been taking in probably more animals than we have over the past few years. Just our operational cost alone have increased.
What is of that total amount? How much is that supported by income that's produced?
As far as revenue,
Yeah, yeah,
so-
not loans.
no, we don't have any loans.
Grants.
Right. So right now we currently do not have any grants for our operating shelter. We are anticipating a $200,000 grant from Senator Alvarado Gil, but we just received the paperwork, and so we are currently working on those because we have to get some individual bids to make sure that we are getting the best, monetary value for what we are anticipating.
So what is your operating income roughly?
Operating income is currently right now, our operating budget for the fiscal year that I just quoted was over $891,000.
The income is $891,000?
Our revenue is probably
Our
what,
revenue
Mike
is,
goes?
I think it's a little over 100,000.
Yeah.
We get revenue through licenses, through adoptions,
Right.
and if we have stray animals that are being reclaimed, we get revenue through those means. We also get revenue when we do any large seizures, and where if an owner's going to reclaim their animals, then that's how we can generate revenue.
So,
Similar donations, in-kind donations as well.
so that
But I
amounts
don't
to,
have
amounts
that
about,
exact figure.
so that's about $100,000.
Just, yeah, give or take.
Okay.
I think it's a little more than that, yeah.
And you spend approximately $800,000?
Approximately for
Yes.
operational.
Okay. And the difference is made up with grant money?
Typically it's a general fund.
Oh, out of the general fund?
Correct.
Yes.
Okay. All right. I hate to say it, I love the cat house, but I think it may not be supporting itself. Now, we're going to, next thing, annual dog licenses. Now, cats don't have to have a license.
Correct.
They're too independent anyway.
The free roaming, so in this county, cats are not required to be licensed. Other larger counties, they do require cat licenses. I mean, it's a good idea because that's the one method of tracking which cats get rabies vaccinated. So,
Right.
and so from a public health perspective, that's really important. So we can, that's the whole rabies control program is so that to ensure public safety, and that's one of the methods to track that data. So, but yeah, in absence of that requirement, we just urge the public to make sure to vaccinate their cats. In California, it has changed from a minimum of 4 months to 3 months of age. So anyone with a 3-month-old puppy or cat is encouraged to vaccinate their pet and then furthermore license their dogs. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
How many cats do you have available now for adoption?
Well, luckily, we are at a very good position right now. We have approximately 15 cats at our cat house right now. We partner with the local humane societies. CHS has been a tremendous help. Last year, they took about 19, a little over 19% of our total intake of cats.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so that's a huge help. When we have large seizures, eviction cases, or cruelty and neglect cases, we're not talking about impounding 1 or 2 cats, we're talking about impounding 20 to 40 cats at once.
Oh,
So
Hence
that's,
the increase in the operating expenses to
Yes.
feed and house them.
yeah, so we're not, obviously in the business of for-profit. So yeah, it comes at a high cost, of course, but yeah, currently we only have about 15 cats, and some of them are not yet available for adoption because, we have to go through that due process that if an animal comes in as a stray, we have to hold them for what's required by law. So, and that's a minimum of 4 days. So, yeah.
in the case of the cat that I adopted, she had to have her, get fixed. And also, she discovered to be pregnant, so she also had to have an abortion.
Yeah,
And there were no picketers out there, though.
Yeah, it's probably because there's a huge pet overpopulation problem, not enough homes. We have a decent adoption rate, but when it comes to cat reclaim rates, it's less than 3%. So only 3% of the cats that are impounded actually go back to their original homes. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so, there's a lot of unwanted litters, a lot of unwanted, breeding that occurs, especially when we have pet parents that have, breaches in their fence, or, for whatever reason their pets get out. Sometimes it's just negligence on the owner's behalf, sometimes it's accidental, but that's when these intact animals are roaming around and producing these litters, unwanted litters. So, yeah.
What does it cost to adopt a cat?
So to adopt a cat, well, right now we have sponsorship opportunities. So a lot of our animals are actually free of charge. Members of the public who, bless their heart, pay the adoption fee. So, but typically to adopt a cat, we're talking about covering the cost of spay and neuter, microchipping, and rabies vaccination. So it depends on the animal and what it came already with. The cost can vary. It can be $40 to $75. So.
Yeah, I think mine was 60.
Okay.
We need to get. Oh, what about adopting a dog?
Oh, adopting a dog, because we are currently at overcapacity, the adoption rate is reduced to 50%. So what would normally be 80 is down to 40, and we have a lot of dogs, great dogs right now at the shelter that have been there for several months, and their adoption fees are waived. They're sponsored actually. So like I said, some member of the public with a great heart has already paid to hopefully have this animal expedited and go to a good home. So
Now, would these be the more ugly-looking dogs?
no, we don't have ugly-looking dogs.
No dog is
they're
ugly.
all cute. Yeah, some of them are a little
Oh.
quirky-looking, but sure.
Yeah, but they're all wonderful dogs.
The you have a new online submittal of bites and potential rabies exposure reporting.
Yeah, we're excited about that.
Yes.
That's something new, huh?
That's something new. We've been working in collaboration with our public health department, our health officer, and before it was where reports were only submitted, handwritten via form, submitted by a medical provider through a form and being faxed over. Now, both healthcare providers and human healthcare providers and animal healthcare providers can go online onto our website and onto the public health's website and be able to submit a bite report online. So It's much faster. It's really easy to navigate the web page. It's all basically clicking and typing in a few things. It makes it much easier for us to read, so because everything is legible, and again, it's much easier for us to receive those reports and be able to respond promptly. So and investigate those bite reports.
Is there a website that the public can go to find out more?
Yes, our website. Oh gosh,
They can
It's-
go to the Environmental Management Agency or just Google Animal Services, Calaveras County, and they'll be able to click on to the different departments, and one of those being the Animal Services.
Now, did you hear that? Let's repeat it.
Thanks.
So the repeat is that you are more than welcome to go onto our website, Environmental Management Agency. There are 5 departments under the Environmental Management Agency, one of them being Animal Services. So you would just click on Animal Services, and all that information is provided at that location.
Okay, that's great. Now, we have a big project on a proposed new animal shelter.
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're real excited about that. So a little over a month ago, we took it to the board, and the architect design and construction plans were approved to move forward by the Board of Supervisors. Now, this coming Tuesday, those construction architect plans will be presented to the board for further consideration. So we're
And-
real excited about it. It's a long time coming, and we're hoping that they do get approved. It's been something that's been in the works for several years. Our community is behind us, and we're looking for that support. But we are heartfelt, in making sure that it's going to go forward, and so hopefully everybody's saying cross their fingers and it will move forward accordingly.
Whereabouts is it going to go?
So the new shelter is proposed to go where the existing animal services building, administrative building is now, and a little bit farther towards the Cal Fire location, which is a little bit more towards Mountain Ranch. That is where it is proposed to go, and we'll be utilizing that same area. The area above was being considered, but we found that it would be a little bit more costly, so we wanted to limit that cost and ensure that we were utilizing the same space. So hopefully it can be built in phases. If not, then that's something that we would have to consider for our shelter operations in the future.
So it might be possible you move the dogs and later on move the cats?
Well, it's possible. Right now, we're focusing on the dogs. The dogs are in dire need of a new location.
Yeah.
Right now, the sanitation and just the anticipation of trying to move the dogs around without them being contaminated, is always a constant challenge. And so this new shelter will provide those sanitation protocols and make them more effective for the shelter operations in whole. But we're primarily focused on the dogs. The cats have it pretty good right now.
I know my cat does.
At least until kitten season, which is just around the corner. And then we have several litters that will be coming in, and an unwanted kitten and cats, unfortunately. But we always do the best that we can. Mike is a dream when it comes to managing animal services. I have the utmost confidence. He's competent, knowledgeable, and I'm very lucky. We're very lucky to have Mike.
He loves the critters.
Yes, he does.
Absolutely.
Who doesn't love a critter, right?
Right. Yeah.
Well, that's true. So how long would it take for that all to come about? Maybe a year or maybe 2 or?
The timeline is questionable. If the board does decide to move forward, then that will be up to as far as the timeline, it's unanticipated. I mean, of course, all of us want it now, right? But feasibly and realistically, it should be a few years.
Okay. Now,
Maybe breaking ground over the next year. That's all up in the air until the board makes
Yeah.
further decisions next Tuesday, the 26th.
okay, so this is going to go before the board on the 26th?
Yes.
Okay. What's the cost of the new facility estimated to be, roughly?
The cost of the well, we had at first alternating bids, but for a full shelter, I believe it's gonna be about 11.5 to $12 million for the full expandable shelter, which includes the cat and the dogs, the infrastructure, just in and of itself.
That's gonna be pretty expensive animals.
Well, you know, that's actually, that particular bid is very inexpensive compared to the rest of the shelter locations throughout California. We happen to choose the good architect, and they're in the right place at the right time. They have experience with several other shelter operations in California, and they have been very successful. So we are anticipating that hopefully, you know, once approved, that we'll move forward the same way.
So the 12 million is not an actual construction bid, it's a estimate.
It's an estimate,
Okay.
correct, because, you know, as we all know, operation, construction costs,
Yeah.
they all fluctuate, and depending on the economy. So that's something that is already built in to that cost estimate.
So, what will your budget look like after this is done? In other words, your, what would be the new, well, you have expense for, on the money, if you're borrowing money, you have the interest expense. If you're getting a grant, then you don't have expense there, but the taxpayer will have expense, because the taxpayer has to pay for the grant.
Yeah, so we haven't gotten to that point just yet. You know, we are looking at this in steps. That's something that hasn't even been discussed, at least on our side. Our administrative branch, you know, as part of Calaveras County, they are the lead agency or the lead department in this endeavor. So we do not have that information, but again, everything has to be approved by the board in order for us to even move forward one more step. So that's something that we would have to consider after that is completed.
So, these are the things that the board has to consider on Tuesday?
Correct. They have to consider approval of the architect plans and the construction plans moving forward.
Yeah, and the budget.
Well, the budget not so much, you know, but that is going to be taken into consideration, but the overall budget, when you look at the whole scheme of the entire project, that is going to be up to the board to decide, because there has been talk of it being done in phases, and that's
Okay.
been discussed in a public venue.
How can you do that? Well, you can do a cat and a dog, but you can't do a big dog and a little dog. How can you phase?
Well, we don't get little dogs in Calaveras County, so it's only going to be big dogs. We don't get the cute little, you know, pouch poodles or the little Pomeranians. We get the bigger dogs.
Now, we have some things coming up. We got Airport Day.
Yes.
Tell us about Airport
yeah,
Day.
a little bit about Airport Day. So on the 13th of April, which is a few weekends from now, there's going to be Calaveras County Airport Day. And upon that, that same day, we have Animal Services is going to be hosting a foster event. So we'll have some,
At the airport?
excuse me, not a foster
An
event, an adoption event.
Adoption.
Yeah.
Yeah, adoption
We were
event.
invited, on airport days to set up a booth, an adoption booth. And so we'll, have some critters there, and hopefully get some of these guys out that have been there for several months, cooped up in a small kennel. So, and so we're really looking forward to that. That's our first adoption event.
I don't think the dogs appreciate the noise of the aircraft.
It'll probably be quieter than a full shelter with 30
Yeah.
barking dogs, but
Yeah,
we'll
maybe.
see.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the reason why I mentioned foster is because we also have a new foster dog program, so that's always on my
Correct.
mind. And that's
Yes.
something we're always trying to push, and we're really proud that because we have a new foster program for not only dogs but for cats for the first time in Animal Services history.
Absolutely.
So
So if
we're
somebody,
very proud of that as well.
if somebody can't adopt an animal, they can potentially sign up as a foster parent. And our nonprofit partner agency Focus will also be there. So for those folks
That's a humane society.
that's our Friends of Calaveras Animal Services.
Okay.
They're our partner organization that does
Great
fundraising.
partners.
So they will be with us too. So if, for example, there's a person that loves animals but is already at their capacity or can't adopt, they could potentially donate to assist, with some of our medical costs with some of our animals, or become a foster parent. So we're really looking forward to that.
And with Focus, they sponsor our free rabies vaccine clinics. It's going to be held on the same day, and it's going to be at the Government Center from 9 o'clock to 11:30. And of course, there are specific requirements. It's only open to Calaveras residents. All cats have to be in crates, all dogs on a leash. This is a drive-through clinic, and it's free. Everything is free. Our taxpayers should like that, right?
Yeah.
So we're always trying to promote that, but it's a free rabies vaccine and microchip clinic. So we are open and welcome to all Calaveras residents, and please come and take care of your kitty and your dog.
Oh, that's cool. On Airport Day, you know where you'd be located?
I'm not too sure Mike, did you get that information yet?
No, not yet. Yeah, I haven't seen a site plan, so.
Probably won't be within a hangar.
Maybe we'll get one of the dogs to ride on the plane. I don't know.
Like Snoopy and Baron, right?
Yeah.
So we have online submittal of bites and potential rabies exposure reporting. Now, has this gone in effect?
Yes.
How many bites have been reported?
Well, this year, I don't have the figure, but
Is more than two?
oh yeah, we get probably approximately 5 to 10 a week.
Oh, that's quite a bit.
Yes, yeah. So that's why I mentioned it's important that people maintain their dogs under their care, and that they're not just free roaming, because that's usually what's occurring. Is we have some of these dogs butt chasing people or chasing other animals, and in the process, when they're trying to break up a fight, the person gets bitten. So, but we also the bites are also from wildlife to domestic animal bites that can be reported as well, because we also track those, and so there's quarantine requirements for those bites that occur.
Oh, do you get wild animals like deer?
We don't. That's a little out of our jurisdiction. We have assisted our game warden in the past, with the large dog carriers and being able to put one in and transport. But that's, we deal primarily with domestic animals.
Okay. Now you get many cat bites?
Oh yeah. And cat bites are pretty severe. There might be a small animal, but because their oral cavities harbor a lot of bacteria, those bites tend to get infected much quicker. So in severity, it just depends. A bigger dog might cause more damage, but a small cat will still cause some pretty significant damage.
Yeah, their teeth are sharper, huh?
Yeah.
And they have claws.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And they use them.
Yeah, I know Crystal's got claws. She knows it too. We're looking at wrapping this up about 4 minutes, and what are some of the things that you see aside from the new facility that you're looking forward to improving? Anything?
So with our new facility, what's going to improve is our sanitation, the animals' health and medical well-being, but also their mental health. Currently, we have a very dated facility where the kennels are not only some of them are pretty small, but there's no barrier between them in terms of when waste is being cleaned. For example, it travels from one kennel to another, which is not great, because if you have one sick animal, then that's an easy way to spread disease. So that's why the facility is so expensive, because in reality, we're dealing with almost a medical facility. And that's one of the things that, when we talk about a shelter and the price point of it, it's not because it's a ginormous shelter or we're increasing that much more space. It's just that it's going to be made where it's impervious to bacteria and viruses just being harbored throughout the facility. So, which in turn will help us, because then the less animals that we have that are getting sick because of poor design, that means that many less animals that are going to veterinary services or some even emergency services, because we have animals that are currently being able to get at each other, and so then it leads to an animal being injured and taking them to the vet. So that should reduce some of our vet costs. Yeah, it's going to be a facility that's going to be more welcoming to our residents in the community, and we get a lot of residents from other communities as well. So I think that this is going to draw a lot more people. So that new factor, of course. But yeah, I'm hoping that it improves adoptions, and we're able to get some of these animals out quicker, because currently, again, we have some pretty long lengths of stays, and it's not a facility that you want an animal to be there that long. So
How many employees do you have?
So we have 3 full-time animal service officers, and we have 2 full-time shelter assistants. They're the ones that take care of the animals every day. We have 1 full-time front office technician, and she's the one that meets and greets everybody. And we have 4 extra hires, 3 that help us with the cleaning and sanitation, and 1 that helps the front office and has been doing a lot of work gearing with our marketing and trying to get our Facebook and Instagram up, and getting more people to join, and also getting a lot of animals out to rescues. So that's been very successful.
Plus you got Lisa too.
Oh, Lisa helps us out tremendously, yes.
I do
She supports us a
I do
lot.
whatever I can. But we also wanted to mention our volunteers. We have over 60 volunteers that we would not be successful without their assistance.
Oh, that's great.
They do our dog walking, they help us with cleaning our cat and dog kennels, they assist with some marketing values, they are there for us, they spread the word, they help educate, they do some of the nurturing, for the baby animals and the cats and the kittens and the dogs and the puppies. We can do it without them.
If you want to, if you want to volunteer, should they call you?
They can go online onto our animal services website, and there is a tab. They can tap on volunteer applications, and we'd be more than happy to review them and get them on board. You bet.
Well, with that, I'm so glad to have you.
Nice meeting you. Glad seeing
Thanks,
you
Al.
all.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you for watching Taxpayer Alert.